All right, so in today's video, I want to take a look at Microstrategy because this is definitely a stock you want to be paying attention to right now. Bitcoin is in the process of bottoming probably in the next couple of months here, at least if we're going off of historical data. Bitcoin is generally bottomed within the next couple of months. We could even have already put in a bottom right now on Bitcoin here, down at around like 58K, but if there is a little bit more downside here, I think these are great buys for the long term on Microstrategy and on Bitcoin. And Microstrategy is, or in previous cycles, it has provided better returns than Bitcoin. So having a little bit of Microstrategy or allocating towards Microstrategy has proven to be more worth it than Bitcoin if you are a believer in Bitcoin. So it's just going to provide more outsized returns to the upside. We can see here in the last cycle that if you bought around the lows, then it went from 20 all the way up to 514. So like a 28x, and Bitcoin didn't do anywhere near that. Microstrategy likely doesn't do a 28x in this next cycle. If it were to bottom around here and go up like 2x from its previous all-time high, then you'd be getting around like a 10-11x on Microstrategy, but that's still likely more than what you'd get on Bitcoin. So having a look at the Microstrategy chart here, we're at a pretty key level on the monthly right now. We can see that on this monthly candle right here, we broke structure. So we broke this low right here at 104.46. We broke down and now we're retesting it on this monthly candle. So if we close the monthly below 104, then there's definitely room for more downside still. And a really key level that I'd like to buy Microstrategy at is 73.03. The reason being is because this is a pretty significant gap here on the monthly. So you can see there's a fair value gap from like 99 point or like around 100 here down to 73.03. And if we were to fill in this gap, I feel like that would be a really nice buy, and it would kind of mimic something similar to what happened last cycle. We can see that last cycle there was a massive gap here from 27.58 all the way down to 18.8 there, and we filled the gap. And if you were buying the bottom of this gap here at 18.8, then that was a beautiful entry for the long term on Microstrategy. Sure, it dipped a little bit lower down to like 14 as the bottom, but if you had $18 buys, then you would have been completely fine with that. Very happy with that for the long term. So if we got down to 73 here on Microstrategy, that's a spot that I'd definitely be interested in buying for the long term. Now, there is definitely a scenario to where the bottom's already in. We had so much FUD around Microstrategy and STRC over this past month, and just Sailor and just everything that went on recently. There was a ton of FUD, and this was a 45% down candle. So this, I wouldn't be surprised if 82.6 was the bottom tick there on Microstrategy. We may not ever get down to 73.03 there. But if we don't, and the bottom's already in, then what you can look for here is a reclaim of the 104.46 on a monthly close. If we get a monthly close back above this low here, then that would be pretty good indication that the bottom is in, and you could at least look to allocate a little bit towards Microstrategy. If we look at last cycle here, we can see that this swing low right here before we broke down, so we broke down on the monthly candle right here, and this was the previous swing low. Once we got a close back above this swing low right here at 31.16, once we got the close right here, you can see, if we just zoom in a little bit so it's easier for you to see. Once we got this close, just move this down a little bit here. Okay, so once we got the monthly close back above this swing low, then the bottom was in. The bottom was confirmed in. So if we see something similar here to where we get a weekly close back above the 104.46, then I would at least start to allocate a little bit towards Microstrategy, because there's a pretty good likelihood that the bottom could be in. The scenario that I want to happen though is for some sort of a double bottom to form here. So we come down, we take out this low at 82, we wick into, like if we wicked into 73.03 and close the gap here, and then got like a nice bullish candle close back above 90 or something, then that would be really good indication that the bottom is in, and I would look to allocate there. Something like this to where we, put in a low. So this could be the low that we've just put in right now. Let's say that from May of 2022, This is the same low, June 1st of 2026. If we were to just chop around here for a little bit, come back down, take out this low at 82, something similar to what we did down here. Notice how we swept this low. So just put a horizontal line here. We just barely swept out that low there. Okay, but that was the bottom. If you would have bought right here, if you would have bought the sweep of this low on the monthly at 14.12, then you just got the bottom tick on MicroStrategy. So if we saw something similar to that, where we came down, took out this low at 81.88, you know, a wick into 73 would be incredible. And then if we got a close on the monthly back above this 81.82 level, then that would be a really good indication that the bottom is either very close to being in or already in. And then something interesting here that I found just looking at the drawdown comparisons from like last cycle to this cycle, I'm not going to take the blow off top candle as the high. I'm going to take the high before or like after the blow off top, after we came back down and made a complacency shoulder. I'm going to take that high to look at the drawdown. And if we take a look at what happened last cycle, we ended up dropping about 85%. And in this cycle right here, if we were to drop like 84, 85%, it would take you right down into that 73.03 level. So that's another reason to why like 73 would be a really nice long-term buy on MicroStrategy. All right, so to summarize, key levels 104.46 and 73.03. If we wick down into 73, I think that's a good blind buy for the long term on MicroStrategy. And if we are to reclaim 104.46 on the monthly, then I also think that buying some MicroStrategy at that point is a good play as well.